welcome to Cosmos with Bailey. I'm Bailey and I'm a clairvoyant psychic medium and spiritual healer based in New Zealand. Welcome. So yes, today's video is going to be on, subtle financial manipulation and control. So I'm going to come from, when I do these sort of perspective videos, we've got healer's perspective and then this one's a psychic's perspective. I'm going to talk a little bit on how this happens and what's going on in the psychic realms and stuff that can go on without your awareness. And I'm going to talk a little bit about financial prosperity and abundance from a psychic's perspective. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm coming from a psychic and healer's perspective and an energy and spirit-based point of view. So first and foremost, I'm actually going to share a personal story and because this is something that's been over the last week or so been drawing on me in prosperity and what sort of went on with me and my personal life. So I'm going to share a personal story and then I'm going to go into points and stuff and what happens energetically so you can understand. I think it's very important to share the personal story because this is a lot more common than we realize, and it happens quite almost a little bit. It's very insidious and it's very, very subtle. And if you aren't aware of it and what's going on, your energy and your prosperity could be being channeled to someone else, or someone could have your energy. Or someone is almost blocked. I've done a post on prosperity over on my Instagram, but someone could almost be blocking you or wishing for you to stay in a certain frequency when it comes to prosperity. Okay, so in my early 20s, I was living in Melbourne. And after a year or so, I had gotten to the point, and I wasn't doing what I would say really well financially, but I was doing and making enough money so that I could enjoy life and save and not work 5 days a week. So what I had going over time was I found my groove living in Melbourne, that I moved to Melbourne in my early 20s from New Zealand. I had 3 jobs going. So I had my coffee job that I was baristaing at 4 days a week. Then 1 day a week I was doing a kimono. I was selling kimonos at the Melbourne night market with this company. They would go over to Japan and get kimonos, and then this was all before psychic work. And then I also was doing some graphic design and also doing some painting and art and selling bits and pieces there. So I had what I would call honeypots of different streams of revenue coming in. And I was doing quite well for myself. And what at that time and at that age and compared to what I was doing before. And yeah, as I said, I could afford to work 4 days a week and then have 3 days off and do really, like, I was enjoying what I was doing. And after a few years, I moved back to New Zealand. And in New Zealand, the living wage, and there's a lot of financial strife and beliefs in New Zealand, and there's a lot of small town mentality. And I moved back to New Zealand, and I moved in back into some family member's apartment. And just recently, over the last week, I was trying to figure out when this financial strife began for me, because I was like, I just thought that it was New Zealand and the living wage and whatnot. But it turned out there was a lot more going on psychically and energetically, and also with my inner child, that was being almost used by someone else in the family. So when I moved back into this family member's apartment, I then went into... And I traced it back. It started like almost 6 years ago, I think. 3, maybe 5, 6 years ago. And it's not this person's fault. It's just something I've been clearing. But I'm not here to play the blame game. But I was trying to figure out how this began. And it started after I said yes to a type of job that this family member said I should do. I didn't want to go back into hospitality because hospo wage in New Zealand is, and when I moved back it was really, really bad, but I think it's gone up now. And I said yes to doing this job. And I realized now, 6 years later, and that was the point in which it started. I said yes to this person saying that I should do this job. And over the coming years of living in New Zealand and doing this job, I was struggling financially. I never had enough money saved. And it was because his family member had come back into my life, and there was a lot of manipulation going on, but I didn't know it. And I could never get the finances or the financial flow back that I had in Melbourne. And I was in really bad living environments, and I was experiencing the same feminine energy over and over and over. And I was in these jobs that I didn't like and that didn't suit me, and I was very unhappy. And it all began when I said yes to this job. And now, 6 years later, what I realized was that by me saying yes to this job, I unwittingly locked myself in to someone else's wants and needs for my financial life. And I was not spiritually or energetically empowered when I said yes to that job. The energy behind that family member's intention was that they wanted me to stay in financial strife and limitation and lack because it suited them and it made them feel better. So unwittingly, I had experienced almost like this person was subtly, psychologically, and psychically and energetically manipulating my own energy into a lack mentality. And the last few years I moved again back into this family member's living situation around about the pandemic, and I had quite a hard time. And things got very, very intense. And this person tried to force me back into jobs that I was dreaming of that I didn't need to do anymore. And I'm lucky that I have so much support from the spirit realms to navigate these situations. And as I'm speaking now, I'm just having some awarenesses. But the coercion and the control and the manipulation got stronger and stronger and stronger. This person tried to force me because I was saying no. And just as I'm speaking now, I'm just having some awarenesses. And this person was very subtly, energetically manipulating me into staying in a frequency of financial lack and disempowerment. So this person, on some level, was puppeting me energetically into doing what they wanted. So, and as I started to say, no, I'm not doing that, the coercion got stronger and stronger and stronger. And this person would not stop. And this person is very, very disempowered. And they're very, very reliant on a man for financial security. This person is not happy or empowered. And there's been multiple circumstances where this person thrives off of manipulating and controlling me. So, and essentially, I was getting puppeted by this family member, and I had little to no awareness, and it was very, very subtle. And this is very normal to happen. You could have it happen with an ex. You could have it happen with a business associate. A lot of people use money and having more money than someone else as a term of self-empowerment. And the experience that I was experiencing because I did not have a lot, because I had lost my job there's a lot more going on due to the lockdowns and whatnot. And I didn't want to get vaccinated. I was dreaming to not do that. And I lost a lot, and this person thrived because I didn't have anything. And so it's almost like this person got a sense of power financially, that this family member had more than me. And so it was almost like she went on this power trip. And it's very manipulative. It's very psychologically manipulative. And I didn't know at the time that this person was doing that on purpose, because I thought, how could someone be so nasty? And then I dreamt just recently that this person was consciously doing what they were doing. And I just thought it was because they were a traumatized individual. And I've been working away at prosperity the last week and trying to figure out why I'm in these circumstances, and it's almost like this type of enslavement that this person had over me financially. Her and her partner. And when people are really, really disempowered, they see money or finances as a source of power over others. That's not true empowerment, and we know that. It's usually people who are very, very disconnected from their spirits and don't feel like they can make wise decisions for themselves. And they're very maybe codependent on the government. They're very codependent on people outside of themselves for financial security. And they're not really empowered prosperity-wise, or they're not in control of their lives. So that's what happened to me. And now I'm going to talk about, and it took me, for 6 years of my life, this person had me under their thumb. And what I came to the conclusion to that it had a lot to do with the inner child. If you have grown up in family dynamics or whatnot, where there has been insane amounts of control and domination, specifically with money, or you get manipulated into things by having money held over you. If you don't do this, I'm not going to give you money. If you don't do what I say, I'm not financing this for you. You know, it's very common in very dysfunctional family dynamics, dysfunctional relationships, business associates, business contracts. It's everywhere, you know. And also with women, if you're in a relationship and you're trying to get rid of an ex that you knew was using you for money, they could be puppeting you and getting what they want, and you may not have any psychic awareness as to what's going on. So yeah, the inner child. A lot of it had to do with my inner child and this person having, for a very long time in my life, having domination and control over how my inner child was feeling. And sometimes through these situations, you have to stand up. This is why I'm not a fan of airy fairy healing. You have to stand up where you couldn't stand up for yourself and empower yourself by saying no. And you have to be okay with some pushback, and you have to be okay with someone throwing a tantrum at you. If someone has been used to using your energy or finances for a very long time, they're going to get a little bit tanty and a little bit toddlery when they don't get what they want any longer. And they're just going to throw stuff and psychic gunk at you until they're appeased again with the control. So with a healthy and healed inner child, you'll find that you'll start to grasp back control of your own finances. This is just one way of what could happen. And it's self-empowerment with a healed inner child, because you are in control of your energy and your prosperity energy and what you're doing as an adult. Sometimes I think when people have a lot of financial strife, or they're not confident with finances and what they're doing with it, it's got something to do with the inner child. This is the same for business. So, and it makes sense. If your inner child is not fully empowered, then your adult self is not going to be fully integrated, and you're just going to react from the inner child. And yeah, so what I just discussed in my personal story was repeat patterning that I was completely unaware that was governing my prosperity flow as an independent, unique, self-autonomous person. Not as a woman, not as a man, as a person. And usually what will happen with these types of connections is that that person doesn't see you as a person. I think this is where you get narcissism. I don't like the term narcissism. And they see you as a form of currency almost. They don't see you as a person. They see, what can I get from you? What can I make this person do? And it's usually very, very one-sided, imbalanced connections. And it's hard to get out of sometimes. There's usually heavy projections trying to very subtly manipulate you and convince you that there's one way and it's their way. And there could be stuff going on in the psychic realms with energies, entities, succubus energy. If you want to go back and watch my succubus energy, I talk about psychic manipulation in men and women, but it can happen either way. And what have I written down there? Once you hand over, or you've never been fully in charge of your own prosperity flow, it's very hard to get it back from this person, because this person benefits from you not having anything, or they benefit from using your energy and prosperity flow. I will say this, and I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just coming from a psychic and energetic perspective. What goes on in your energy body, whose energy you're connected to, if it's your mother's, your father's, or whatnot, you could be operating off of your mother's outdated beliefs about finances and jobs and have no idea, and not be able to make the money that you want. You could be operating off of your father's old beliefs about having to be a savior, having to give your money away. There's many things that could go on that aren't actually your own unique prosperity flow. And this is how we get locked, I would say, into a frequency or a system of finances. This is where the idea of the matrix comes in. The matrix doesn't exist. There's something going on within you that's making you feel financially repressed, and it'll be something of the inner child. It could be past lives. And we're so disempowered when it comes to finances and really stepping out of that old world consciousness and choosing for ourselves how we're going to make that money. I'm not a fan of denying money. Some people do that. Money, we're not here to just sort of sit and have things be handed to us. We're not children. We're here to live our incarnation, and we're here to do things. This is why I'm not a fan of manifestation. You're here to do things. You're here to set things up. You're here to have experiences. However, what's going on in your energy body and your aura will affect your prosperity flow and empowerment. Usually what happens also with these connections is that they'll just see you in the same state. Like maybe you'll get called stupid and you can't do anything for yourself and blah, blah, blah. And if you're in those family dynamics and you see these things playing out, it's quite routine for a family member to then go and do it to the child because they feel disempowered. So it's very insidious in many ways. And there's a lot of triggering that happens when you start taking your power back and not doing things their way. Because you're saying, actually, I'm not going to live life that way. I'm actually going to go and make my own money. It's very, very triggering because they feel they can't do that. So how do they get what they want? They manipulate and try and control others' finances. And it's very silly. But it happens so subtly. And if you think this has happened to you, I highly recommend to go see a spiritual healer or a psychic to see what's going on energetically in your aura with this person, with the family, and start clearing out those connections so you can actually decide how you're going to make your money and what's going to make you happy, and not be sort of governed and dictated by financial and psychic manipulation by another person. You can also feel financial enslavement very, very subtly and not realize that someone is trying to puppet you. And this is where the idea, I think the people get the idea of the matrix from. If you are being manipulated, if you have been oppressed financially, if you think you have to help your family, there's all these really, really ingrained beliefs and manipulative ways of working with money that make you feel oppressed. And so you've got to clear them out of your energy body so you feel more empowered with finances. Yeah, unhealthy financial patterns. Using money to coerce and manipulate into getting what they want. Lies and deceit. trying to convince you, that you're stupid and dumb and don't know what you're doing. I know this is a really big thing with females and that victim mentality. Men can do that to you quite easily. And so when you separate off from these connections, you'll realize that you have your own unique way of making abundance or doing business and whatnot. And there's just so much ingrained beliefs with finances and how things have to be done. It's the very old world, unloving father energy and the unloving mother energy that doesn't understand that other people are on their journeys and they may do things differently. And for me, as I was clearing out those beliefs around prosperity and whatnot, I realized this person wanted me to stay in the living situation that I was in because it made them feel better. And they didn't want good things for me. And the energy was so intense that it was actually affecting my own psychic energies. And this is why I talk about spiritual discernment and psychic boundaries all the time. They are a godsend. And obviously been a big journey, but very common, and I wanted to share it. And through clairvoyance and working as a psychic, I can definitely see how one could believe they had to be disempowered financially when they didn't. If you feel like you're not in control or empowered in how you make money, there'll be something going on within you. And if you are in connections that are very one-sided, and they're not based on love and a spirit connection, they're based on physical assets or whatnot, that's not healthy and that's not normal. And okay, so once you clear these prosperity beliefs and get rid of those leechy, manipulative and controlling, financially controlling people, it's very subtle. It may be happening without you realizing. You get almost like opened up to a completely different frequency of how to work with energy and finances. And for me, as I was clearing them, I haven't had my honey pots, I'm one of those people. How it works for me is that I have multiple income streams. I don't like doing just one thing, and I call them honey pots. You have your hand in many pots, and that works for me and my feminine energy, and it works well for me. And it's just so important that you can step out of someone else's wants and needs for your finances and your life and really choose for yourself how you're going to do that. But first, you may need to go through some clearing, some empowerment. You may need to stand up for yourself. You may need to eliminate people out of your life that do not see you or support you to be your best self. Something that's come through to me over the last few days is that to me, the spirit realms said that I shouldn't really have energetic space available for people like that, and that I should never be allowing, or if people take up so much of your time and your energy and your finances in that way, they shouldn't be in your life because it's not a balanced energetic interaction. And typically what you want to do is you want to surround yourself with people that do not demand that you adhere to their way, because they're trying to use your energy to get you to do what they want. And Spirit Realms just said you should never ever feel obliged to allow someone into your energetic space or allow them a lot of space in your energy if they are not being respectful. That is the reality of being on the earth right now. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful. As we know, financial manipulation happens. It's more common than we think. And you can gain back your power from insidious connections. There'll be stuff going on in the psychic realms and in your energy body. If you want to get financially empowered, there'll be stuff to do with your inner child. There could even be past lives. I know I've had past lives with the connection that I've been experiencing, so I've had to sort of shut it down and out of my energy body. And we can sort of move out of these archaic beliefs on finances and prosperity and what that means, and start creating with new energies and ways of making money that aren't so limiting and demanding and controlling of us. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that was helpful.